friends, and welcome back to Kowalski Mountain. I am Barbara Sue. I am the creator of the blog KowalskiMountain.com. Now it's fall and it's time for some fall treats. Today we're going to make pumpkin puree from a fresh sugar pumpkin. Now if you've never made your own fresh homemade pumpkin puree, you are going to be amazed how wonderful it is, and I promise you're never going to want to go back to that stuff in the can. Now come along and let me show you how easy it is to make pumpkin puree. Now this is a sugar pumpkin, and it's small, and it is known for its sweet flavor that makes perfect baked goods. Now you can make pumpkin puree out of all kinds of pumpkins, even the large ones that you might buy in your big box store for making jack-o'-lanterns. You can use those pumpkins to bake with, but they're not going to be as sweet as it is going to be a sugar pumpkin. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wash this pumpkin. Now for cutting open a pumpkin, you want to use a nice sharp knife. And it's kind of hard to cut through the stem, so I'm just going to cut right beside it. Now I'm going to go ahead and pierce right in. And then I'm going to turn it around, find my mark where I cut, and just continue my cut. Now we're going to gut the pumpkin and remove all the seeds and the fibers inside. Now this is really easy to do. I'm just going to use my spoon and break all those fibers and remove those seeds. Now the chickens are going to love my seeds, but you can roast them yourself as well. If you like roasted seeds, you can roast them and save them and make a snack with them for yourself. Now to bake the pumpkin, I've already preheated the oven to 350 degrees. Now you can just put the pumpkin right on your baking sheet, but I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper to make my cleanup a little bit easier. And I'm going to put a little bit of avocado oil on it. You can use avocado oil or olive oil or whatever oil that you'd like. Now I'm going to take my pumpkin and just put it in the baking sheet, face down. Now using a fork, I'm just going to poke some holes in it. We just want to be able to let the steam vent out of the pumpkin. And there it is. That's all we're going to do to it. I don't season it all. I'm going to use this to make a pumpkin cupcakes, and so I don't want to put anything savory into my pumpkin. It's just pumpkin. That's it. Simple. Let's get it in the oven. All right, the pumpkins are done. Now I'm going to leave this to cool. Now this is still a little hotter than I want, but it's time to wrap up the day. So I'm going to go ahead and work on it now. So I'm going to just use my spoon and scoop the pumpkin right out. And you just want to scoop out all the pumpkin, and I'm just going to put it into a bowl. Look at that beautiful pumpkin puree. The brown that you see on the edge of the pumpkin is just caramelized sugar. There's no need to be worried about it. You can scrape it off if you prefer and not include it as part of your pumpkin puree, but it's not going to cause any quality changes. Now that pumpkin has produced about 4 cups of pumpkin puree. Now it's late this evening, so I'm going to go ahead and let this cool, and tomorrow we're going to make pumpkin cupcakes. So now we're going to make the pumpkin bars with the fresh pumpkin that we baked yesterday. I'm just kind of stirring it up a little bit. And I'm going to measure out 2 cups. Now this is actually okay. It is just crystallized sugar. It just doesn't look pretty, so I'm going to take it out. There we go. There's our 2 cups of fresh pumpkin. Now we'll add the rest of the ingredients. I have a cup of oil, 4 eggs, and since I use farm fresh eggs, I always crack them into a separate bowl, just for good measure. Now we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. Now I have a ½ cup measuring cup, so I'm going to be putting in 4. And we're going to go ahead and stir this up a little bit. Now we'll add the rest of the dry ingredients. So I need a teaspoon of cloves, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Let's let that mix up. Now we're going to add the flour. We're going to add 2 cups of flour. And there it is. It's a beautiful batter. Now we're going to get the cupcakes ready. So I use a scoop when I'm filling cupcakes. I feel like it's a little bit less messy. It's about 2 scoops. Now since I have an RV, I only use the small muffin tins because they fit better in the oven. Get some of the bubbles out of that. Now I have a little bit of batter left. Quite a few years ago, I bought these little mini muffin tins. They are ceramic, and they were for Christmas gifts. And I had some left over, and so I kept them. Well, this is the perfect size treat loaf for Philip and I. There's just 2 of us. We don't need an entire loaf of bread, but this little loaf is perfect size, and I can freeze the extra for a rainy day. Sprayed that with a little bit of avocado oil. Now this is my whole kitchen, so you can see I have to get creative with my counter space. All right, we'll get these in the oven and we'll get them baking. I filled those a little full, so hopefully they won't overflow in my oven. As a preventative measure, we'll put a tray underneath. Now those are going to cook for about 25 minutes. I'll check them in 20 just to be sure. Now with the rest of the pumpkin, I need to freeze it. You can can chunks of pumpkin, but you can't can pumpkin puree. And so I just feel like freezing is my favorite method of preserving fresh pumpkin. Now the rest of this I want to measure out, and I'm going to put into a Ziploc bag. Now this is going to be just under a cup. When I freeze it like this, I flatten it out so that it will lay nicely in the freezer. I'm going to label this 3/4 cup of pumpkin. And I always put the date on it. Now this will go into the freezer and I'll save it for next time. Now the muffins are done. I'm going to take them out of the muffin tin so they can cool. Sorry about the cat. She wants to go outside, but it's too late. So she's going to stay in. Well, friends, here it is. Here's the finished pumpkin. Once these cool, I'm going to frost them with cream cheese frosting. As always, we appreciate you watching our channel and helping us grow to 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't hit that button, hit that subscribe button and help us grow. We'll see you later.